Apollo astronaut claimed extraterrestrial ancient alien astronauts created humans, and evidence is in Sumerian texts. If we look at other ancient cultures, such as Mesoamerican, ancient Greek even, ancient Egyptian, concerning the Atlanteans, we'll find how the sacred books of the ancient Maya, the Popol Vuh, describes the beings that created the races of mankind. Many researchers and authors have been inspired for decades by the notion that ancient aliens created the human race. While mainstream science thinks this is absurd, there are countless evidence that support the ancient alien theory. The history of humanity, which has survived for thousands of years and is written in ancient manuscripts or clay tablets, may be the most important link between the rise in civilization and alien life. For example, the ancient Sumerian king list, which describes kings who ruled over the earth for a total of 241,200 years since the original kingship, had, quote, descended from heaven, end quote. The Sumerian tablets, these clay tablets of the unique text, is 4,000 years old. It was found by German-American scholar Hermann Hilprecht at the beginning of the 20th century. Hilprecht discovered almost 18 such cuneiform tablets around 2017 to 1794 BC. Although they were not identical, they shared information from the same source that's believed to be the Sumerian history. More than a dozen copies of the Sumerian king list can be found in Babylon, Susa, and Assyria. The Royal Library of Nineveh dates back to the 7th century BC. Mainstream scholars have refused to believe that all this written on the Sumerian king's list is true. They claim that it's a mix of mythological and prehistorically accounts speaking of gods who ruled the land, enjoyed long reigns that are impossible to believe, and we can see how other ancient cultures, such as the Mesoamerican, describe creators of mankind in the sacred book, the Popol Vuh from Mesoamerica. According to Living Maya Time, the Popol Vuh, meaning the book of the community, narrates the Maya creation account, the tales of the hero twins, and the Kich genealogies and land rights. In this story, the creators, Heart of Sky, and 6 other deities, including the feathered serpent, wanted to create human beings with hearts and minds who could keep the days, quote unquote, but their first attempts failed. They were happy when they created human beings out of yellow and brown corn that could talk. Another epic story cycle sees the death lords of the underworld, called the hero twins, to play an immortal ball game. The twins defeat their opponent in this thrilling match. The twins rose to the heavens and were made the sun and moon. And through their actions, the hero twins prepared the way for the planting of corn, for human beings to live on earth, and for the fourth creation of the Maya. Now, the Popol Vuh, these ancient texts may be extraordinary, but the many artifacts scattered around the globe that depict beings strikingly similar to modern-day astronauts are perhaps even more remarkable. Al Worden, an astronaut who served on the Apollo 15 mission, had something to say about aliens in an interview with Good Morning Britain. Al Worden, an American astronaut and engineer, was the commander module pilot on Apollo 15 lunar mission. It was 1971. He was the only person to have flown all 24 times to the moon. The former astronaut was also listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most isolated human being during his time alone in the command module Endeavour. He believed humans were the descendants of ancient aliens. Former Apollo 15 members stated that aliens were real and had visited Earth from the distant past and created our civilization. And if we needed evidence, we could simply look at Sumerian literature. Quote, "We are the aliens, but we just think they are somebody else. Because someone had to survive, we are the ones who came in from somewhere else. Then they got into little spacecraft and came here, where they landed and started civilization. And if you don't believe me, go get books on ancient Sumerians and see what they had to say. They'll tell you right up front, end quote. This is what Warden said. He died March 18, 2020. According to his words, the man believed in ancient Sumerian scriptures. These records reveal that humans and gods lived together in the past, and humans were slaves to gods. Each Sumerian city was protected by its own god. In 1893, a tablet from Nippur, an ancient Sumerian settlement in Mesopotamia, was excavated, shows the first evidence of a Sumerian creation story. And you could read the full article in the link here. According to the cuneiform tablets, Earth was ruled from the beginning by human-like gods. They made Earth habitable when they arrived by mining and toiling the earth. The text also mentions the revolt between gods and laborers. Now, there are many people that have the theory that Earth shows a lot of Earth changes by what looks like mining. For example, even the Grand Canyon. Now, in 2017, going back to this, on a British TV show, Good Morning Britain, he gave a shocking response when host asked why to spend a lot of money on space missions when there are lots of problems on Earth. When asked whether he believed that aliens existed, he answered yes. Everyone who watched the interview was likely surprised by his answer. Former Apollo 15 members stated that aliens were real and had visited Earth from the distant past, creating our civilizations, and that if we needed evidence, we could simply look at Sumerian literature. He said, we are the aliens, but we just think they are somebody else. Because someone had to survive, we are the ones who came in from somewhere else. He said they got into little spacecraft, came here, where they landed and started civilization. And if you don't believe me, go get books on ancient Sumerians and see what they had to say. And they'll tell you right up front. Now, it's said before humans, the Anunnaki, a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians, used the Igigi, sometimes also spelled Igigu, the young generation of ancient astronauts, gods, as their servants to mine gold on Earth, but later they were replaced by humans when they rebelled against the Anunnaki. 3 domes were the home of heaven for ancient Mesopotamians, the home of the stars with the lowest dome, while the Igigi were found in the middle, and the An, the god and skyscraper, was the embodiment of the highest and outermost heaven dome, An from Anu. And supporting Al Warden's statement, Dr. Ellis Silver, an author of the book Humans Are Not From Earth, a scientific evaluation of the evidence, has a strong belief that life on Earth was sparked by aliens thousands of years ago. According to him, humans should have become the strongest race in the universe, but the mortal body failed to thrive in the Earth's environment. It can easily be harmed by sunlight, natural disasters, and diseases, he said. Mankind is supposedly the most highly developed species on the planet, yet is surprisingly unsuited and ill-equipped for Earth's environment, harmed by sunlight, a strong dislike for natural occurring foods, ridiculously high rates of chronic disease, and more, Dr. Ellis said. And he concluded that humanity did not originate from this particular strain of life, but that it evolved somewhere else and was brought to Earth as fully developed Homo sapiens between 60,000 and 22,000 years ago. The work was heavy, the distress was, end quote. And this is on Collective Spark by Myth and Mystery. Now let's remember that the Tutankhamun, King Tut, DNA was recently examined and analyzed, and they found that his DNA was very intense compared to the human DNA, and also that his bone structure was very dense. His bone composition was very dense compared to Homo sapien bone. So even though he was humanoid looking, his DNA was very intense. There was a lot of information in his DNA compared to our DNA, and that his bone was more intense and stronger than human bone. So where did they come from? Were they one of the humanoids and human races that went extinct in some past extremely extinction level event, coming close to an extinction level event? We don't know. So I'll leave a link below for you for this on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.